beautiful peoples. I'm Animanga Clendora, and this is my 2000th video. 2,000 videos on my channel. That is such a fantastic milestone. Now, those of you who have been watching my channel for the past few years will know that when I did my 1000th video, I talked about each individual episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And at 1500, I talked about all of the comic books that The Last Airbender got. This time, for the 2000th episode, I'm going to be talking about The Legend of Korra. Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show of all time, and Legend of Korra is my second favorite show of all time. And I am going to be discussing all episodes. I will not be talking about the various comic books that Legend of Korra has gotten. I will save those for my 2500th video. And then at 3,000 videos, I will be talking about Seven Havens, because by the time I get to 3,000 videos, I imagine it will be a few years since from now. And then by the time I get to that, both seasons of Seven Havens will most likely be out, and be available to watch. When did I actually put out my 1000th video special? When did I do that? Let's see here. Specials. Okay. Okay. Not there. How about here? Is it in this? Where did I put it? Here it is. That was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. That was, March 2023. And then it's only been a year since. It's only been 1 year since my 1500th video. Well, no, it's been a year and a half. It's been over a year and a half. Because that was in November of 24. So, all right. Well, so we're going to be talking about, I'm going to just talk about each individual episode. And when it comes to Legend of Korra, when it comes to this, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I really wanted to do that justice, and so that's why those videos wound up being so incredibly long, because I had a lot I wanted to say about those. For this, I'm mostly just going to mention the name of each individual episode, read the description of the synopsis for the episode, and then say what I thought about the episode. That's how I'm going to handle it. That's how I'm going to handle this. I do absolutely love The Legend of Korra. It is a fantastic series. But I don't want this to be like a 4-hour long video. Like, it's probably going to be long. Oh, it's definitely going to be long. It's going to be like well over an hour, possibly 2 hours, probably closer to 2 hours. But I don't want this to be too incredibly long. So, anyway, we are going to start this off. Okay. We're going to start we're going to start this off with Book 1, Air. And yeah, I got the special anniversary edition of the steel booklet set for Legend of Korra. I have the same thing for Last Airbender, and I'm really hoping that when Seven Havens comes out, it gets its own steel booklet set like this. I really hope that it gets its own version of that. Or this is another thing I would love is do another steel booklet set, but have it be like golden in color. Have each of them be golden in color. That would be amazing. And this franchise certainly deserves it. Anyway, so we're starting with Book 1, Air. I like the little I like the artwork there of Korra. And then right there of Aang and Korra. That's fantastic. I love that. Anyway, so and these synopsises are just going to be like 1 or 2 sentences. So episode 1, the first episode of the series, is Welcome to Republic City. Having mastered water, earth, and fire, Avatar Korra is eager to begin her training in airbending, but trouble in Republic City interrupts her plans. Again, like I said, these are just the bare bones 1 or 2 sentences synopsis. And first episode, I love the introduction to it. Before the show started, there was a lot of people who heard that the new Avatar was going to be a teenage girl, and everyone just kind of groaned at the thought. And people were like, "Oh God, it's going to be terrible because it's a teenage girl." And the team who were working on it, they must have known that that's how people were going to react. They must have known that people were going to be really skeptical about it from the get-go. Because the first thing we see of Korra, the way she is introduced to us, is literally just blasting herself into the franchise. Like, breaking a wall, blasting her way into the franchise, and just saying, "I'm the Avatar, you gotta deal with it." And that was perfect. That was actually the most perfect way that they could have introduced her character. It really was. It was the best way because the very next day, when I went to school, I was in high school. I was in like my senior year, and when I went to school the next day, everyone was talking about it. Hey, did you see the first episode of Korra? Wasn't it so good? And all the haters, all the naysayers had just shut up from one episode, from that one instance of her blasting her way and saying, "Just deal with it. I'm here to stay." And oh man, they shut their haters up in just one episode, and that was fantastic. And yes, as the show went on, yes, people did find other things to complain about. And yes, do I have issues with the narrative of Korra? Yes, I do have a couple grievances. But those grievances are incredibly minor from just the sheer enjoyment that I get from this franchise, from both Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. I get so much enjoyment out of both series that my grievances seem incredibly small and petty by comparison to how much joy these shows bring me. So, I really enjoyed meeting Korra. That was fantastic. I enjoyed meeting Tenzin, Aang's son. That was so cool. That was so cool. And seeing Aang's grandkids and seeing Katara all old, and it was heartbreaking hearing that Sokka was dead. Hearing Sokka was dead. Oh, that broke my heart. I was like, no, not my boy. And then the episode ending with Amon and showing the villain, and what a cool villain, what a mystery Amon was. And there was this theory going around, and like people basically made like deep fake images of Amon, like with his mask off, and it was just an older Aang, and people made like deep fake images of stuff like that, and just to kind of throw people off. I never once thought that it was going to be Aang. Like, not once did I ever think it was going to be Aang. I was like, there's no way they're going to turn the main character of the previous show into the villain. There's no way. And not only from like a story perspective would that not make sense, it also wouldn't make sense from a lore perspective, considering how like the only reason Korra is even here is because Aang died. Like, if Aang's alive, then Korra wouldn't be alive. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode. Oh yeah, I gave them ratings, didn't I? Back then. Oh man, I think I gave them like out of 10s. I think I gave them out of 10s, I think. First episode, first impressions were fantastic. Like, absolutely wonderful first impression for the series. So I would probably give this a 10. Second episode, A Leaf in the Wind. After hitting a snag in her training, Korra visits the city's pro-bending arena in search of inspiration. Here we meet Mako and Bolin, the two bending brothers, and they're both fantastic. They're both fantastic characters. One of them is better than the other, Bolin. Like, he is so much better of a character than Mako. It's not even close. Mako does have his moments where he's a real badass and he's really enjoyable to watch. But I just find it absolutely hilarious how he screwed up so badly with two women that they just decided, you know what, it's not even worth it. Let's just find comfort in each other instead. Like, he just kind of turned. He was such a terrible boyfriend that he just turned them away from men entirely. But yeah, I really enjoyed seeing pro bending. That it is such a cool sport. It is such a cool sport, and I'm so glad that it was included as a playable mode in the Legend of Korra video game. Which I have played several times on my channel at this point. Let's see. There was the initial playthrough that I did on my failed second channel. And then there was the playthrough that I did in the very early days of me doing streaming on this channel. And then I did a revisit of it back in 2024. And then more recently, I did a all-in-one video where I played through the whole game in a single setting. So I've played through it 4 separate times, here on YouTube, and I imagine I'm probably going to end up playing through it again at some point. Because, like, to this day, it is still the best Avatar game we have ever gotten for the franchise. There was the original Avatar: The Last Airbender on the PS2, Avatar: The Burning Earth, which was okay. That was fine. That one was enjoyable. The first one was okay. The second one was enjoyable. The third one we got, Into the Inferno, was basically, they tried to have it be kind of like a mixture of the first game and the second game, but it was overly complicated and not nearly as fun, to be honest. But I would say I'd probably put it at the same level as the first Last Airbender game. And then we got The Legend of Korra, and then Quest for Balance, which I also played on my channel, and me and Meta, we ripped into that one throughout that whole thing. Oh, that was terrible. That game was awful. Anyway, but back to A Leaf in the Wind. I thought this one was pretty enjoyable. I enjoyed the stuff with Mako and Bolin and getting to know their characters. That was very fun. And seeing Korra basically use her airbending training to help her win the match. That was a really cool way to show, like, hey, she's not going to learn the same way Aang did. Like, she has to be taught differently. So I really liked that. I would probably give that one an 8 out of 10. I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. Next, episode 3 of season 1, The Revelation. Avatar Korra and Mako attempt to infiltrate the Equalist movement and learn more about its mysterious leader, Amon. They discover that Amon has kidnapped several people, including Bolin, and they make a plan to rescue him. And this one started the whole romance between Korra and Mako. This one started the whole romance between Korra and Mako. Like, I could honestly tell. I could honestly tell even from the early days that this was not a good relationship. This was not a relationship that would last. I kind of figured that. We'll get into it later, but Mako had more chemistry with Asami than he had with Korra. At least that's what it felt like. But as the seasons went on, as we got through the first, second, and third seasons, Korra started to have a lot of chemistry with Asami, and of course, that ultimately led to the ending. This one, it was really cool to see Amon's power and him reveal that he had the power to take people's bending away. That was really terrifying. And that's when the whole theory that Amon is actually Aang started to come around. But that was really scary. That kind of power is something that only the Avatar has ever been able to do, and now here's this guy who can also do it. He can just take away your bending, and that's scary, especially for the Avatar. Which leads into episode 4, A Voice in the Night. But before we get to that, My rating for the revelation, for the reveal, I feel like that kind of bumps it up a couple notches. But I'm not that big of a fan of the whole romance subplot in the episode, so I would probably give this a 7 out of 10. So episode 4, A Voice in the Night. Korra is recruited to join Councilman Tarlok's task force, which seeks to rid the city of Equalis by force. I think Tarlok is a really interesting villain. I personally really like Tarlok as a villain. I think he's a really good villain. Having her join his task force and seeing the two of them actually work together to take on different raids against different Equalis hideouts, that was a really cool scene. That was a really cool scene, seeing them work together like that. That was awesome. And I kind of wish we had gotten to see that a little bit more. Like, we had gotten to see, like, maybe a montage of various bases that they would hunt down. I think that would have been really cool. But what we did get was still really cool, and throughout the whole episode, she's, like, trying to pretend like she's not terrified of Amon. And when she challenges him to a fight, and he just absolutely bodies her when he does show up, and is like, I could destroy you right now, but I'm not going to, because I want you to understand that you are nothing to me, and you should be afraid. And then he just disappears. Oh, that, like, again, they make Amon so scary in these early episodes. Oh, he is a terrifying threat. He is a absolute terrifying threat. Like, the kind of threat like Azula and Combustion Man, where, like, just seeing them on screen makes you feel uneasy, like, oh god, what's about to happen? Because the moment they're on screen, you know something's gonna go on. And so it's just, it makes a chill go down your spine, because you just know something's about to go down. And it just makes this character such an effective and terrifying villain, and I love it. So I would probably give this another 7 out of 10. Number 5. The Spirit of Competition. Korra and her pro-bending teammates struggle to work together after romantic rivalries shake their foundation. Yeah, it's this episode. Gonna be honest, it's mostly just, like, a love square. It's just love square, like, teenage drama type stuff. And that's basically the whole episode. And it's, honestly, when I rewatch the show, this is one of the few episodes where I put it at 2 times speed, just to get through it faster. This is it's one of the only episodes that I do that for. There are very few episodes that I do that for, but this is definitely one of them. Because I'm just not really interested in the love square. That is one of the weaker points of the series, and especially of this first season. So, that said, I do still enjoy the little date that Korra and Bolin have, and I think that is fantastic. And I do enjoy how, like, it all just gets wrapped up in, like, one episode. I'm glad they get through this in just this one episode, and then they lock in after that and start focusing on, like, the more important things. Like, You focus on finishing the tournament. You focus on finding out who the Equalist supporters are. You focus on fighting Amon and Councilman Tarlock. Like, that becomes the focus after this episode. Like all the teenage drama stuff is just in this one episode, and then they move on to the important stuff after this. So I would give this I do get enjoyment out of seeing Bolden and Korra together, and they were very entertaining together. I would say 5 feels a little low, but 6 feels a little high. So I guess a 5.5. 5.5 out of 10. So next is, and the winner is, Korra and the Fire Ferrets ready themselves for the Pro Bending Championship as an evil threat looms over the arena. Yes, and this one, ooh, the wolf bats, oh, and their cheating ways, and how did they get away with it? That's something that always, like, bothered me, because, like, how did they get away with it? Because literally everyone in the arena is booing the wolf bats and screaming that they're cheaters. And the announcer is even saying to the whole stadium, and on the radio, because they're broadcasting this on radio, the wolf bats are cheating, folks. The ref is clearly on their side. He's clearly been bought out. And it's like he's calling them out. He's calling them out on public radio. The entire city knows. So it's like, how were they able to actually get away with it and not be forced to actually play fair? Because, like, the whole city knows. And even if Amon didn't show up and take their bending away, what comes next? Okay, because, like, the whole city knows that you're a bunch of cheaters, which means you're gonna get fired. Your career is over. Like, you're never gonna be allowed to pro bend again, because everyone knows that you are cheaters. Nobody likes you anymore. You have lost every single one of your fans by exposing yourselves as being cheaters who will pay people off to let you win. So it's like, what exactly was their plan here? What exactly was their end goal? Just beat this and then just be forced to leave in disgrace? Oh yeah, great plan. Turn everyone against you. Make sure the entire city hates you. Oh yeah, great strategy, guys. So, but in all seriousness, the Wolfbats are an effective foil to the Fire Ferrets. They were someone that they had to try to overcome without stooping to their level. And it just, unfortunately, it didn't work out because, you know, they cheated. They were guaranteed to win. They were guaranteed to win no matter what. Like, even if the Fire Ferrets had somehow gotten a knockout, the ref who had been bought out most likely would have said that it didn't count because they used illegal moves, even though every move they used was very legal. Like, they were guaranteed to lose no matter what. But then Amon shows up, and he takes away the Wolfbat's bendings, and then the Equalists were in the crowd, and of course, you had the one guy going in there with an electric glove into the booth with the announcer. One of them is in the booth, and I do believe he is going to electrocute me. So just he never stops commentating. He never stops commentating, and I love it. I love the grind. You gotta love the grind. So, but yeah, that was a fantastic episode. I would say that is definitely a 10 out of 10 right there. So then episode 7, Aftermath. Oh boy, we're 30 minutes into this, and we're only halfway through the first season. Oh boy. Ugh. I don't want this to be a 4-hour video. Ugh. All right, let's speed this up a little bit then. The Aftermath. Mako and Bolin are invited to stay in Asami's mansion, and while Korra visits them, she begins to suspect that Hiroshi Sato is working for the Equalists. She and the Metal Bending police force investigate the mansion further. This one exposing Mr. Sato as an equalist, like that really humanized Asami. Like up until this point, it wasn't certain what her orientation was in terms of like her alignment, whether she was good or bad. We weren't entirely sure, but this episode really cemented her as a member of the team. Yeah, she's cool. Like, especially with the electric glove, she does some real damage. She is a fantastic fighter. I would give this one an 8 out of 10. This was a very enjoyable episode. And speaking of 8, next is episode 8, When Extremes Meet. After Saikon's appointment as chief of the Metal Bending police force, Tarlok exercises increased control over the city. Mako, Korra, Bolin, and Asami form the new Team Avatar to stop the councilman's plans. And yeah, in this one, they get arrested. In this one, Asami, Mako, and Bolin all get arrested, and Korra goes to confront Tarlok, and then he reveals that he's a bloodbender to her, which that just kind of came out of nowhere. That just kind of came out of nowhere, but it also wasn't a full moon, and so now we have a bloodbender who could bloodbend without the need for a full moon, and that just makes him so much more terrifying. The Puppet Master in the original Avatar series is by far the scariest episode in that series because of bloodbending and the way it works. And how it seems like every movement that a person makes under bloodbending just puts them in such incredible pain. And it is just and the noises that the body makes when they're being bent is just so unsettling and creepy. And having a character who can do that on any night, regardless of if there's a full moon or not, that is scary. So, that said, the late half of the episode is so much better than the first half. The first half is not that entertaining, but the second half more than makes up for it. Especially the fight between Korra and Tarlok. That was an incredible fight. Um, so, mm, the first half just does knock it down a bit, but the second half is so good. 7 feels like it's too low, but 8 feels too high. So I'm gonna go with a 7.5 for that one. Next is episode 9, Out of the Past. After being imprisoned by Tarlok, Korra attempts to analyze the mysterious visions she has been having. Meanwhile, Tenzin, Lin, Mako, Bolin, and Asami search for Korra, having been given false information by Tarlok. Yes, they go to find her. They infiltrate an Equalist base, bring down the Equalists, and free Lin's police force. And find out that Korra's not there. And so they go to confront Tarlok when they realize that he's the one who has Korra, and he reveals that he's a bloodbender, and he bloodbends them in broad daylight, which makes him even more powerful than we thought he was in the previous episode. So, but then at the end of and throughout the episode, Korra's having visions about Yukon, and learning that he was a bloodbender. He was a bloodbender as well, and that he is Tarlok's father. That was really cool. So Aang had been trying to like warn her throughout the series, and she just didn't have a proper connection to him before now. And then the ending showing Tarlok go up against Amon, and Amon just walks right through the bloodbending. That was so cool seeing that the first time. Seeing him be like, bloodbending? Oh, that's nice. That's cute. And he just is like unfazed by it. Like, that is scary. Oh, nothing can stop this guy. So, that was also a fantastic episode. I think I would give that a 9 out of 10. I would give that one a 9 out of 10 in terms of enjoyment. Next is Turning the Tides. Korra tries to recover from her time spent imprisoned by Tarlok, but when the Equalists launch an assault on Republic City, she is forced to take action against the revolutionary group and their mysterious leader, Amon. And this is the one where we get to meet General Iroh, who honestly, I love Dante Bosco. I do. He's a fantastic actor, but I feel like that voice does not match the character's design. I feel like that voice doesn't match right, and that there needed to be that General Iroh needed to have a deeper voice than that, because like I hear Dante Bosco's voice and I feel like that needs to be on a much younger character. That General Iroh does not look the age that the voice sounds. And it's difficult. It was difficult to get past. I eventually got used to it. But yeah, that was a complaint of mine for a while. And that whole fight with the new planes, like, that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then the fight on Air Temple Island, and Lin sacrificing herself. Oh, that was so sad. That was painful to watch. So honestly, I think I would give this one a 10 out of 10. I really loved this one. So next is episode 11, Skeletons in the Closet. As the war intensifies, Korra goes undercover and discovers a secret about the anti-bending revolution. Meanwhile, her teammates hunt down an equalist stronghold. And see, for that one, that's the one where we get to see Tarlok again, and he tells us who Amon really is, and we get to see their backstory, and that's really cool. I really enjoy that. It's a fantastic story, and then we got to see Asami, Bolin, and General Iroh try to infiltrate a stronghold. And they get captured. I would probably, let's see. The story is fantastic. I think I'll give this one a 9 out of 10. Then episode 12, Endgame. Korra and Mako infiltrate an equalist rally where they attempt to expose Amon as a bloodbender. Meanwhile, Asami, Bolin, and General Iroh are imprisoned by Hiroshi Sato, but are freed soon after by Naga. And first off, that whole fight scene against Hiroshi Sato between Asami and her father, a very dramatic moment, a very intense, emotional scene. You can just tell how pained she is to have to fight her own father like this. So it's still a fantastic story. It's still a fantastic scene. And then seeing General Iroh take down the planes that came off. That was a really cool scene. And then Mako and Korra infiltrating the rally, and then they find out that Tenzin and his family didn't get away, and that they were actually caught. And they end up fighting him, and Korra and Mako barely manage to get the better of him until he starts using bloodbending on him. And then Mako manages to resist the bloodbending just enough to electrocute Amon, which was so cool. He actually resisted the bloodbending a little bit. Because we never see anyone being capable of doing that other than Amon. Amon was the first person we ever saw to be capable of that. So Mako is one of the rare people who can actually resist bloodbending a bit. And then, of course, when he's about to get his bending taken away, Korra starts airbending. And then he starts using bloodbending on her, and she manages to resist it long enough to send a blast of air that sends him into the river. And when he comes back out, he's exposed. And he goes and gets his brother. They get on a boat, start driving away, and then Tarlok just blows the boat up. That ending, I was not expecting that. I really was not expecting them to just kill off the two villains like that. That was absolutely nuts. That was so crazy. Such a fantastic way to end that whole thing. Absolute 10 out of 10 for Endgame. Fantastic episode. And of course, Korra manages to get her bending back. Thanks to Aang showing up. That scene right there. So, But yeah. So that was book 1. So next is book 2, Spirits. We're 45 minutes into this. Okay, I need to speed up. I can't be spending this much time on a single season. All right. So, episode 1 of season 2, Rebel Spirit. Korra struggles to find a deeper connection with the spirit world as she and the gang attend a Southern Water Tribe festival. While there, Korra's uncle Unalaq attempts to persuade Korra to let him be her advisor. Yeah, we got introduced to some new characters. Like, technically, we saw her parents in the first episode of season 1, but they didn't really get much screen time. Here, we actually get to see more of them, and we get to know who they are as people. But then we also get introduced to her uncle, and we get introduced to her 2 cousins, Eska and Desna, who are just absolutely hilarious. Eska especially, and I love the kind of romance that Eska and Bolin have, and that was really funny. But for a return, because like after season 1, the creators didn't know if they were going to get any more seasons. They were worried that it was just going to be a single season, so when they got announced for a season 2, they weren't entirely sure what to do initially. But then halfway through season 2, they were told that they were going to be able to have a seasons 3 and 4. So basically seasons 2, 3, and 4 all feel like, all 3 seasons, they feel like one continuous story, because each season leads into the next, whereas season 1 is kind of like a standalone story and doesn't really connect to any of the other seasons. Like, the ending of season 2 leads directly into the start of season 3 and the conflict of the 3rd season. And then the ending of season 3 leads directly into the conflict of season 4. They're all just kind of all 3 seasons are just interconnected, except for season 1. Season 1 is not interconnected to any of them. And is just kind of a standalone story. As a result of this, Korra feels like she's regressed to how she was at the start of the first season. Like, she has to learn the same lesson again, learn patience and understanding and empathy, sympathy, all that stuff. Like, she has to learn that again when she did technically learn that in the first season. But for the first episode back, I would probably give it a 7. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Then next, the Southern Lights. Korra begins her spiritual training under Chief Unalaq, and the first step of her training is to travel to the South Pole and open up the spirit portal residing deep within the area. So that was an enjoyable one. We got to see the Southern Lights, and that was really cool. The South Pole actually looks like a really dangerous place, and it looks really awesome. And then we got to learn more about the backstory between her father and Unalaq. and what happened between them. I would probably give this a 7 out of 10 as well. So, Civil Wars Part 1 and Civil Wars Part 2. I'm just going to go ahead and read both of them and just talk about them together since it's a 2-part episode. Korra tries to remain neutral as tensions flare between the northern and southern water tribes. However, things are complicated when the southerners are talking about preparing for war and a group of rebels tries to kidnap Unalaq. In Part 2, in an attempt to get Judge Hota to release Tonraq, Korra discovers that Unalaq set up the trial and her father's banishment. As a result, she breaks away from Unalaq and races to save her father with the help of her friends. So for this two-part one, honestly, the most entertaining parts of this two-parter is Eska and Varric. Those are the two most entertaining parts of this two-parter. Like, they are the most entertaining parts of it. All the stuff between Bolin and Eska is hilarious, and then all the stuff with Varric is absolutely hilarious. Varric is like one of the best characters in the entire Korra franchise, like by far. He is just so friggin' hilarious. So, the rest of this two-parter is just not as enjoyable, to be honest. So honestly, a lot of my favorite lines from Varric and a lot of my favorite scenes from Eska come from these two episodes, so I have to give it props for that. I would probably give them both a 6. So, Episode 5, Peacekeepers. Korra attempts to gain support for the Southern Water Tribe from the United Forces, but her request is denied by President Reiko. As a result, she, Bolin, Varric, and Asami attempt to take matters into their own hands. And I'm going to be honest, this one is mostly just characters standing around talking. Most of this is just characters standing around talking. And Mako and Korra break up, and Korra decides that she needs to go to the Fire Nation and see if she can have them help. And then she gets attacked by a dark spirit at the end of the episode. I would also probably give this one, I'd give this a 5 out of 10. I would give Peacekeepers a 5 out of 10. Let's see, Episode 6, The Sting. When Triad activity threatens to put future industries out of business, Mako performs an investigation and discovers a much bigger conspiracy is taking place, which needs to be dealt with. This was a nice little, kind of cop spy type episode. Where we got to see Mako and Asami team up and take on this mission together, and see Bolin really get into the groove of being a mover star. I found it very enjoyable. I thought it was a really enjoyable episode. But there are much better episodes this season. And when I think about those, this episode just doesn't hold up as well. because there are scenes in the episode where I'm just like, okay, let's just fast forward a little bit. So I'd probably give this a 6 out of 10. Next is Beginnings Part 1 and Beginnings Part 2. So I'm just going to read them both. In order to cleanse herself from a dark spirit's attack, Korra must reconnect with her avatar spirit by finding Rava. To do so, she needs to learn about the origins of the first avatar, Wan. And then part 2. Wan's spiritual reflection shows Korra how he learned the other 3 elements and why he merged with Rava to become the first avatar. His story makes Korra realize what she must do to restore balance to the physical and spiritual worlds. These are by far the best episodes in the season. The Beginnings Part 1 and Part 2 are the best episodes in the season by far. There is no contest. They are the best episodes in the season. These are deserving of 11 out of 10s. I remember giving a couple 11 out of 10s in The Last Airbender. I gave a couple 11 out of 10s. This is going to be one of those 11 out of 10s. 100%. Absolutely love these 2 episodes. And just getting to see, I love the new art style, and I love getting to see the origins of the Avatar cycle and the first Avatar and like what his story is, and it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. So next is The Guide. Korra seeks Tenzin's help to enter the spirit world for the first time. However, their attempts prove to be futile until Jinora comes to Korra's aid. Meanwhile, Mako and Asami rekindle their relationship. This one is not that good. It's another sitting around talking. It's another sitting around or standing around and talking. There's not a whole lot going on in this episode. It's the next episode that gets really interesting. But for episode 9, The Guide, I would probably give it I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10 because it's not good enough for a 7, but it's not bad enough for a 6. So a 6.5 out of 10. And then next is A New Spiritual Age. After successfully arriving in the spirit world, Korra and Jinora get separated. Korra finds herself in a dark forest as a 4-year-old girl, and Jinora ends up at Wan Shi Tong's library, where she is captured by Unalaq. And I love this episode. I love seeing little Korra. And I love seeing little Korra and like how she ends up protecting the little bird that turns out to be like I want to say it's some kind of like a phoenix spirit. That's what it looks like. And I love the little joke. I love the little joke with Jinora when she shows up to the library. Wow, I could stay here forever and read books. And Wan Shi Tong shows up. The last human who said that is still here. And we just see Professor Zay's skeleton. It's like, oh my god. Oh man, that... Woo! Oh man, what a callback to that. Oh, that is fantastic. So... Anyway, and then we got to see the goat. We got to see the goat, Uncle Iroh. We got to see Uncle Iroh again, and it was fantastic. Oh, I cheered the first time I saw that episode. The first time I saw this episode, I cheered when Iroh showed up. I was just screaming, yes! I was so happy. I am sure a lot of other people like screamed out when they saw Iroh as well. It's so good. It was just so good to see him in this episode. So I absolutely would give this one a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. This was a really good one. I really enjoyed this one. You know what? No, I don't think it's good enough for a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.5. A 9.5. It is almost good enough to be a 10. But we are an hour into this. Oh boy. We're an hour into this and we still have 30 episodes. All right. All right. So next episode is Night of 1,000 Stars. At his own mover premiere, Bolin prevents 4 waterbenders from kidnapping President Raiko and his wife. The Earthbender also forces one of the men to reveal that the mastermind behind the plot is Varric, who is promptly arrested. Yes, this is the Bolin episode. This is the Bolin episode, and I love it. I love it because like Mako was arrested. Mako was arrested, and now it falls to Bolin to figure out who done it, and it was really entertaining. I loved seeing Bolin fight the waterbenders, and you have the mover going on in the background, and the fight is happening almost exactly the way it's happening in the mover. So that is just such great parallels. I love that. So yeah, it is a fantastic episode. Honestly, I think I will give it the same rating as episode 10, a 9.5. It is so close to being a perfect 10 out of 10. It is so close. Next is Harmonic Convergence. When Janora's spiritless body is in the care of Katara, Korra and her friends attempt to break through the northern defenses surrounding the southern spirit portal. They try to close the spirit portals before harmonic convergence. They proceed to get captured, and then Boomy comes in and saves the day through sheer luck. And then he starts trying to tell them what happened, and he's like, "Oh, forget it, you wouldn't believe me anyway." And that basically kind of just reveals like all these crazy stories that he's been saying throughout the whole season. They might actually be true. Like, he's just insanely lucky that a lot of these things just tend to work out. So, like, that is fantastic. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a good episode. Not as good as the previous 2 episodes, but still funny, still enjoyable. I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. It was a good, solid episode. Next, Darkness Falls. Korra is shocked to discover that there is a new twist in Unalaq's evil plan. Meanwhile, Tenzin realizes that he must face his own demons if he wants to have a chance to save his daughter. And in this is the one where Vaatu gets released, and the two of them merge, become the Dark Avatar, and then they rip Rava out of Korra and just destroy her. And meanwhile, Tenzin, Kaya, and Boomy all go to the Valley of Lost Souls to find Jinora, and Kaya and Boomy like just kind of lose their minds, and then we get a really cool little cameo from General Zhao, and he's just constantly repeating, "I am Zhao the Conqueror, Zhao the Moonslayer. I will capture the Avatar. And he mistakes Kaya Bumi and Tenzin for Katara, Sokka, and Aang. And that's really cool. He manages to get Jinora and Kaya and Bumi all out of there, and saves them all. And yeah, this was a fantastic start to the 2-part finale. This was wonderful. So I would say a 9 out of 10. I would give this a 9 out of 10. And then Light in the Dark. Having lost Rava, Korra gives up until Tenzin suggests that she tries connecting with her own spirit as a way to defeat Unalaq. While meditating in the tree time, she taps into the energy of the universe and creates a towering astral projection. Yeah, that astral projection that Aang saw when he was trying to master the Avatar state. That is his astral projection, and she just taps into that and just becomes the giant version of herself. And that is so cool. And then just seeing a giant kaiju Korra and a kaiju Unavatu fighting each other was so epic. It was so cool. This 100% gets a 10 out of 10. This ending gets a 10 out of 10. 100%. Absolutely love it. And Korra manages to find a small piece of Rava that survived, and she uses her spirit bending that Unalaq had taught her against Unavatu, and then reunites with Rava, and decides to keep the spirit portals open. Such a fantastic way to end the season. So yeah, 10 out of 10, absolutely. And yeah, this was from the beginning. This was from the beginnings. She was looking back at herself, and then like herself turned into Aang, which turned into Roku, and then Kyoshi, and so on and so forth, until it switched over to Avatar 1. But next up is Book 3. Book 3, Change. So, first episode, a breath of fresh air. As Korra tries to restore the streets of Republic City, she learns that her decision to keep the spirit portals open has created a new conflict between humans and spirits, and triggered the emergence of new airbenders. Yes, and seeing Boomy with airbending capabilities was really cool. Like, they opened up the season with that. Like, that was awesome. And by the end of the episode, like, she's decided that she's gonna travel around the world to find all the airbenders to bring back the Air Nation. Because like harmonic convergence, when that happened, it basically saw, oh, there's practically no airbenders. Let's fix that, and it was basically the world's way of trying to bring itself back into balance. So ultimately, the 100-Year War didn't really amount to much. Considering how like the purpose of starting the 100-Year War was to eliminate the Airbenders, but this show basically reveals like whenever harmonic convergence happens, and if the world is out of balance, it will basically fix itself. So there's no air. The world saw there's no airbenders, so it made more airbenders. So when the world is out of balance, it just fixes itself. Of course, that's only once every 10,000 years. So anyway, so next is Breath of Fresh Air. We also get introduced to my favorite villain of the whole series, Zahir. I love Zahir. He is such a cool villain. He is so awesome. So, as a start to the season, I'd give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Next episode, Rebirth. Tenzin, Jinora, and Team Avatar travel toward Ba Sing Se in an attempt to find new airbenders. They stop at various villages along the way, hoping to convince them to join the new Air Nation. There's a lot of comedy in this one. There's not much in terms of like story progression. In terms of story progression, there's not a whole lot, but we do see more of Zahir and him trying to reassemble his team. I would probably give Rebirth a 7 out of 10. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And then episode 3, The Earth Queen. Korra and Asami collect tax money for the Earth Queen, and Mako and Bolin experience an unexpected family reunion. Meanwhile, Kai can't get rid of his old habit. Stealing. And Lord Zuko visits a secret prison in the Northern Water Tribe. Alright. So, the fight between the Red Lotus and the White Lotus was really cool in the Northern Water Tribe. That was awesome. I loved that. The Earth Queen is just such an enjoyable villain with how just unapologetically evil she is. Like, she ate her father's bear, for crying out loud. Her father, the Earth King, and his bear Bosco, she ate his bear. Like, that is just so comically evil. That is comically evil. It's so entertaining. But seeing Mako and Bolin's family was very nice. Let's see. I would give this one. I would give it a 6.5. 6.5 out of 10. Episode 4, In Harm's Way. After Korra discovers that the Earth Queen is forcing all the airbenders in Ba Sing Se to join her army, she makes a plan to break them out. And this one was also very enjoyable. This one was even more enjoyable than the Earth Queen. We got to see the Dai Li again. They were training all of the new airbenders. it had some really good choreographed fights that I really enjoyed. And so I would give it a 7 out of 10. Then the Metal Clan. Korra, Mako, Bolin, and Asami visit Zaofu, the city of the Metal Clan. But Lin doesn't join them because she doesn't want to confront her past. Meanwhile, the Air Temple Island training camp has a shady new recruit. Yeah. So, let's see. Not a whole lot happened. Oh, we do get to see Varric again in this. We get to see Varric again in this, and we get Opal. I have my own issues with that character. In this season, she's fine. She's a perfectly fine character in this season. I don't like her in season 4. But we get to see Varric and Julie again, and yeah, they're still amazing. They're still amazing. They're still the best parts of the show. And then Zahir infiltrates the Air Temple, he gets found out pretty quickly. He gets found out pretty quickly. He doesn't get found out in this episode, if I remember correctly. It's the next episode he gets found out in, but they suspect him in this episode. I would probably give this one. I'd probably give this one a 6.5 out of 10. And then Old Wounds, we get to know more about Lin and Sue's relationship and their backstory. Per Sue's suggestion, Korra begins to learn metal bending. Opal admits her reluctance to leave Zaofu due to her obligations to her family, while Bolin deals with his apprehension toward learning metal bending. I really liked seeing Lin and Sue's backstory and seeing what kind of a mother Toph was. Her parents gave her zero freedom, and she did the complete opposite, and she gave her kids too much freedom. It makes sense that she wouldn't really know how to be, mother of the year. She wouldn't know how to be that because her parents were so restrictive and did not give her any freedom. And she wanted her daughters to be able to have the freedom to choose what they wanted to do with their lives. But she wasn't in balance. She wasn't able to. She wasn't in balance, and so she wasn't able to be the kind of mother that they needed. The kind that, yes, gave them freedom, but also gave them structure. And I think. I think it's telling that the best parents in Korra from the original series wound up being Katara and Zuko. They wound up being the best. They wound up being the best parents because they wound up being the best parents because Aang, like, he was so focused on trying to drill all the knowledge of the airbenders into his son Tenzin, because he knew he wasn't going to live for very long. He knew that the 100 years staying in that iceberg was going to catch up to him, and he had to get this knowledge into Tenzin as fast as possible, which ultimately led to him not spending as much time with his other two kids as he would have liked. And Toph Toph going the complete opposite direction of her parent, the way her parents did as far as raising kids, that also makes sense. Um, Zuko had Iroh, so he understood what good parenting looked like. And Katara, she had always been mature. She had always been very mature and motherly. She had been a very mature and motherly character from the get-go. So it makes sense that she would be a fantastic parent. But like, this isn't, and that's not to say like that means that these characters are bad characters. No, it just shows like the way they grew up formed the way their parenting style is. Like, they did their best to be a good parent, but they could only go by what little knowledge they had. Because, like, you're never ready for parenthood. That's the thing. You are never ready for it. You may think you are, but you're not. You're really not. There's always things about parenthood that you're going to wish you had done differently. And this is just coming from somebody who has no kids. Like, I have no kids, but I absolutely desperately want to have kids of my own someday. I absolutely want to. But yeah, as far as old wounds go, I would probably give that a 7 out of 10. I would give it a, you know what? No, 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Original Airbenders. Tenzin's attempts to train the new members of the Air Nation meet with little success. When a group of bison rustlers kidnap Kai and Jinora, along with several bison calves, the new Airbenders are forced to put their abilities to the test. And this was an enjoyable one. I enjoyed seeing just kind of a laid back episode, where not a whole lot happens. So let's see. I'll probably give it a 7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And I'm gonna have I have to start speeding up again. I have to start speeding up. It's already 12:37, and I have other things that I gotta take care of today. I do not have a whole lot of time. So episode 8, The Terror Within. As Opal leaves for the Northern Air Temple to start her airbending trains, Zahir and his gang try to kidnap Korra in Zelfu. Although Korra's friends are able to save her, the group suspects that there is an enemy inside Zelfu. Really good episode. Enjoy this one. Enjoy the whole mystery of like who is it, who's the traitor. I figured out like pretty quickly, like it's got to be the guy who can tell when people's lying, because like he's the only one who can actually keep a secret in this city. Like it would be super easy to find out who the traitor is with that guy. But if he's the traitor, then who's gonna tell him he's lying? So yeah, and so I really enjoyed that one. That was a really fun episode, and the battle at the start of the episode was also really fun. The terror at the start of the Terror Within, that was a really cool battle. So I would give that an 8 out of 10. 9, The Stakeout. Team Avatar track Aiwei to the Misty Palms Oasis and conduct a stakeout to listen in on Aiwei during his meetings with Zahir. They discover that the meeting is to actually take place in the spirit world, so Korra also enters the spirit world. Yeah, that's basically the entire episode. That's kind of the long and short of the episode, basically. There is a fight a fight between Mako and Bolin versus the Earthbender and Waterbender. Of Zahir's group. And that was a really good episode. And I'd give that a 7. 7 out of 10. Long live the Queen. On an airship traveling to Ba Sing Se, Korra and Asami managed to escape from their restraints and holding cell, but their attempts to hijack the vessel causes it to crash in the middle of the desert. Okay, and that one had the sand sharks, had the giant sand sharks, and it's a big question of like, where were those guys during the events of Last Airbender? And I have my own little theory on where they were during the events of The Last Airbender. And I talked about it. I talked about it on this channel. Which you know what? Let me just look this up real quick. I want to make sure I remember the way it's. I want to make sure I remember what I called it. And all right, here we go. Yes, it's Avatar's Hidden Third World. And I talk about the third world that was just kind of hiding in plain sight. If you want to hear more about that, go look that up. I will leave, if I can remember, I will try to leave a link to that video in the description box. But anyway, yeah. So, that was a good episode, and then the Queen dies at the end of it. The Queen dies at the end of it in a really gruesome way, and that was really cool. So I would say 7 out of 10. Next is the ultimatum. As Ba Sing Se continues to erupt in chaos, Mako and Bolin struggle to leave the city to deliver Zahir's message to Korra that the Red Lotus will attack the Northern Air Temple unless she turns herself in. Let's see. The ultimatum. I'm trying to think like what I could possibly give it, because like ultimately it's a bunch of people trying to get to different locations and rushing to get there. Not a whole lot of actual substance happens outside of Tenzin's fight against the Red Lotus, and that was a really cool fight. But that's like the last like 5 minutes of the episode, whereas the other like 15 minutes is not a lot happening. The last 5 minutes is fantastic, absolutely amazing. But is it enough to raise the number? You know what? I think so. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm not a huge fan of like most of the episode, but the last 5 minutes is just absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I'll give it an 8. Next, Enter the Void. Team Avatar hatches a plan to save the Airbenders, but all is not what it seems like. Zahir rediscovers an old airbender talent, and the motive of the Red Lotus is finally revealed. So this is the one where Pali dies and her head pops like a grape. Zahir ends up flying, which, like, that was absolutely insane when I first saw that, seeing him fly like that. That was really cool. The fight between Korra, her father, and Korra and her father against Zahir, and then Lin and Sue versus Pali. That was really both those fights were absolutely fantastic. And then Bolin learns lava bending. Oh, he becomes a lava bender. It was so cool. That was so awesome. He had been trying to learn metal bending for so long, and he just couldn't. It just wouldn't work for him. And that's because he has lava bending, which is just, that's so cool. So I really enjoyed this one. This was a fantastic penultimate episode for the season. I would give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's wonderful. And then next, Venom of the Red Lotus. After being captured and poisoned by the Red Lotus, Korra must fight against Zahir to keep herself from being killed in the Avatar state, which would end the entire Avatar cycle forever. And that one, when the poison gets administered and she starts hallucinating, that felt dark. It the way the animation turned, it just felt so dark. It felt so dark and absolutely crazy. And then the fight between Zahir and Korra in the Avatar state, he's actually holding his own against her for a while. The Avatar state is being weakened thanks to the poison, but still, it's the Avatar state. It's the power of a thousand avatars, 1,000 lifetimes of avatars, all being unleashed at him at once. Even if it's weakened, that's still a lot of avatars at once attacking him, and he's still holding his own. So, credit where credit is due, Zahir is an insanely powerful individual, able to go toe-to-toe with Korra like that. So that was a really cool fight. And then seeing Jinora bring everyone together to create that giant tornado that brings him down and finally grounds him. That was awesome. And then seeing her get her tattoos, and she looks exactly like Aang when she's bald. That was crazy. That was awesome. And Korra is crippled, her legs are broken. That is nuts. That is not how I expected the season. That is not how I expected the season to end, with Korra being crippled like that. That's ugh. So, but a fantastic end to my favorite season of the show. Absolute 10 out of 10. No, I will give the finale an 11 out of 10. I really do think the finale deserves an 11 out of 10. It is absolutely fantastic. So, that was Book 3 Change. And lastly, Book 4 Balance. So, first episode of Balance. After all these years, the members of Team Avatar move on with their lives 3 years after Zahir poisons Korra. Kai and Opal help a struggling Earth Kingdom town. And yes, this one is basically just kind of showing like where all the characters are after these last 3 years, and what they've all been up to, and I personally really like the the updated designs for all the characters. I think they look fantastic. And I especially love Korra's new look with the hair, with her haircut like that. Season 4 Korra, this is my favorite version of Korra, mainly because like she is by all intents and purposes like she is a tomboy. She's a muscular woman who enjoys fighting. She has a very tomboyish personality. And her with the long hair, like, for me, never really looked quite right. It didn't feel like it matched. It didn't feel like it quite matched her and her personality. But with her haircut like this 100% looks like a haircut. Looks like Korra's haircut. Like, when I think of Avatar Korra, I think of this version of her. I think of this version of her with her haircut. I don't think of her with the two side ponytails. I don't think of her like that. I think of her like this. So, yeah. But this was a good episode to just see where everyone is at. After these 3 years. So I would give this a 9 out of 10. Next episode, Korra Alone. As Korra is haunted by a shadow of herself in the Avatar state, and she reminisces about the hardships she has endured over the past 3 years, she decides to confront the vision of herself in a duel and loses. This one really shows just how much PTSD she has. Like, she has a lot of PTSD from her fight against Zahir. And this episode is basically just kind of her trying to deal with that. She was able to heal herself physically, but she has mental scars that run incredibly deep, and she's just trying desperately to fix herself. And then at the very end of the episode, we see another one of the goats, Toph. We see Toph. We see the other goat. There's 2 goats. But we see Toph. And I screamed when I saw Toph. Oh, I was just way too excited. I actually jumped out of my chair when I saw Toph the first time. It was wonderful. So, and I really love this episode. Like, this is a fantastic episode that shows the struggles to get better after being in an accident, the struggles you go through, and then like the mental trauma that you have to process. Like, this was a fantastic way to show all of that. So 10 out of 10, absolutely 10 out of 10 for this episode. Episode 3, The Coronation. Prince Wu's big day is ruined by Kuvira while Korra thinks that she might have found the key to a full recovery. This is the one where Kuvira announces that the Earth Kingdom will be reorganized into the First Earth Empire. Yeah. I mean, she pulls a Palpatine. She pulls a Palpatine, basically. Which I also find it interesting that uh like this is very much like a Palpatine. Kuvira is very much like a Palpatine type villain. Amon is very much like a Voldemort type villain, where like where he thinks that Voldemort like believes in the purity of magic and believes that only true blood wizards should rule, and that Muggles should be destroyed. Well, he believes something very similar. He believes that all bending should be destroyed and that everyone should be benderless. The world should be benderless, and then season 2, you got Unalaq and Vatu, which is very much like Sauron and Saruman from Lord of the Rings. So like each of these villains like kind of like takes inspiration from like really popular villains, and like I can't really think of anything from Zahir, to be honest, as far as like really iconic villains. I'm sure there are a couple villains that you could claim he's inspired by. The closest one I could think of is Bane from the Dark Knight trilogy, because when he speaks to the people, it sounds very similar to Bane's speech in Dark Knight Rises. Bossy says yours. It's the people. We give it back to you. So, yeah. But anyway, the coronation. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was an entertaining episode, kind of a funny episode. I would say I'd probably give it a 7. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Next, The Calling. Tenzin's children leave Air Temple Island in search of the missing Korra, while he stays in Republic City to deal with Kuvira. Surprisingly, Jinora has a difficult time locating Korra's spiritual energy, and the siblings start to argue. And this whole episode is basically just about the kids. It's okay. It's honestly, I would say this is probably the weakest episode of the season. So I would probably give it a 6. I would probably give it a 6. No. A 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. Enemy at the Gates, episode 5. Kuvira brings her entire army to the doorstep of Zaofu. Bolin and Varric begin to have second thoughts about their roles in Kuvira's army, and Korra sets out for Zaofu. Yeah, let's see. I really like this one. I love the whole standoffness that Kuvira and her army have. Like they're just kind of at a standstill, and tensions are very high, and you can feel that throughout the entire episode. You can feel the tension. And it's just, oh god, who's gonna strike first? Like, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna shoot first? Kind of situation. But I don't like how Opal treats that's spam. If it's important, leave a message. But anyway, so I don't like how Opal. I don't like how Opal is uh, just blaming blaming Bolin for everything. Like Kuvira's doing a lot of this stuff, and she goes around and starts blaming Bolin for it. When it's like, hello, Bolin got tricked by got tricked by Kuvira just like everyone else did. Everyone got tricked by Kuvira. Like, Kuvira made it seem like she was going to hand over all of her power once her work was done. Everyone was tricked by her. Everybody was tricked by her. So, Bolin took a little bit longer to catch on to what was happening and to how bad Kuvira was, but Opal, you know he's not the sharpest tool. You know he's not the sharpest person. You know he takes a little bit longer to figure things out. Why are you villainizing him? Why are you villainizing him instead of just trying to talk to him? Like, that's the thing about Opal in this season, is that she is too quick to anger in this season. And I understand that, like, tensions are incredibly high. I understand that tensions are incredibly high because her family is at risk. I get that, but even after this situation is resolved, she continues to blame Bolin as if he's the one who arrested her family. And I don't like Opal in this season. Oh, she is a bitch. Don't like her. I don't like her. Anyway, Enemy at the Gates. Honestly, my hatred of Opal brings this down. I would give this a 5 out of 10. Because I just hate Opal that much. Battle of Zaofu. Su Yin's attempt to assassinate Kuvira fails, and she and her twin sons are taken as prisoners. Korra returns to her role as the Avatar, and Bolin and Varrick break from Kuvira's army. We see Korra and Kuvira fight, and even though the poison is now out, that doesn't really fix the mental trauma that she faced. She still hasn't dealt with the mental trauma. She thought that just getting rid of the remaining poison in her body would just cure her mental trauma. No, she still has to face that. She ran away from that, and she still has to face it. Because she won't be at full strength until she has moved past that. So it makes sense for her to lose to Kuvira here. But it was still a really good fight. I still really enjoyed it. And I would say a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for this one. Next is Reunion. Korra returns to Republic City. Team Avatar faces its first mission as a unit in 3 years when Prince Wu goes missing, and Bolin and Varrick are on the lam. We see a really cool scene with Bolin and Varrick as they go past a checkpoint, and we get a really cool fight scene with them. Prince Wu gets kidnapped, and then Mako and Asami and Korra all go to save him. And they're bickering the whole time. Because, like, you know, there's bound to be an adjustment period when, like, you haven't seen when there's a friend that you haven't seen in, like, several years. When you finally interact with each other after, like, not talking at all for several years, there's bound to be a bit of an adjustment period. Sometimes it's really awkward trying to talk to them again after so many years. Sometimes it's violent like this, where they're just arguing a lot. But I do like how they handled that. I thought it was really good. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Next is Remembrances. Team Avatar reminisces about the past several years, thinking back on themselves and their friends. At the Sato estate, Mako recounts his past to Prince Wu, explaining how he and Korra met and his complicated relationship with the Avatar and Asami. And on a boat, Varric talks to a bunch of other refugees trying to run away from Kuvira's army, and just makes up a whole new story for Nuktuk, and basically all the events of the first 3 seasons are basically just kind of recounted, but with Nuktuk as the hero instead of Korra. And it's hilarious. So but yeah, this is basically the Ember Island players of the series, and it is just as enjoyable. So I definitely would give that a 10 out of 10. Let's see. Next is Beyond the Wilds. As a group of tourists led by Ryu wanders through Republic City's spirit wilds, they are suddenly attacked and captured by the vines. Jinora, Korra, and Opal investigate the mysterious disappearances. And this is the one where Korra ends up finally facing her trauma, and she goes and talks to Zahir, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I caused a lot of problems, but this Kuvira, I've heard about her. She needs to be stopped. So I will help you meditate into the spirit world so you can work through your trauma." And I kind of like that. He's kind of like he takes on a bit of a like Hannibal Lecter type role in this. Hannibal Lecter Silence of the Lambs. For anyone who has seen that, like, it's very similar to that, where like the prisoner is helping the person solve the case, and that is really cool. That's what it reminded me of. Anyway. But yeah, I really liked that. I really liked that one. That was a really cool episode, and I really liked seeing her actually work through her trauma. And I would probably give this a 8.5 out of 10. Not quite good enough to be a 9, but I do really enjoy the way they handled it. So I'm going to have it be an 8.5 out of 10. Next is Operation Beifong. Bolin helps Opal and Lin save the Beifongs from Kuvira. Meanwhile, Korra visits the spirit world in search of help. And again, just I can't stand Opal. I hate Opal, and it's only after he risks his life to save her that he's like, okay, now I'll forgive you. Now I'll forgive you for being tricked by Kuvira and not realizing that she's an evil piece of garbage, even though everyone else in the world was also tricked. But I'm not blaming them. I'm only blaming you. I really can't stand Opal in this season. Oh, she's so annoying. The best part of the episode, though, by far, was seeing was seeing Toph just kind of completely demolish Kuvira's army and just yell, "You give metalbenders a bad name!" Oh, that was amazing. That is the greatest insult to a metalbender. The creator of all metalbending, Toph Beifong. If she says you give metalbending a bad name, that is the greatest insult to a metalbender. I can imagine no greater insults to a metalbender's pride. So, but that one scene, does that outdo my hatred for Opal? No, I don't think so. It does bring it up a notch. So instead of being at like instead of it being at like a 6, I'd have it be at a 6.5. Out of 10. So next is Kuvira's Gambit. Korra and Team Avatar try to stop Kuvira from moving against Republic City. Kuvira unveils a deadly new weapon. And this one is basically just them preparing, just trying to prepare for the final battle. It's mostly just preparation time. And we get our first glimpse we get our first sight at the giant mech that she has, and that's insane. That's so cool. That's so cool. She's just got this giant mech, and that is awesome. So let's see. Not a whole lot actually happens. Not a whole lot actually happens besides like them preparing. So I would say, oh no, wait, no. At the end of the episode, like Kuvira gets there, and the team kidnaps her fiance, in order to get her to back off, and instead she just fires on them, knowing her fiance and knowing she'll end up killing her fiance too. So, and then episode 12. So let's see, Kuvira's Gambit. I would probably give this a 7.5. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Day of the Colossus, episode 12. Team Avatar clashes with Kuvira on the streets of Republic City, while Pema and Prince Wu help evacuate innocent citizens. I love how Milo had an idea on how to beat the giant, and it almost worked. It actually almost worked. Like, they actually managed to knock it down. They actually managed to knock it down, to freeze it in place and knock it to freeze it in place. They knocked it down, and then when it got back up, they threw the paintballs at it. They tried crushing it between two buildings, and Korra froze it. Everything was going great. The one part where it didn't work is the one part where the plan wouldn't work is that they couldn't bend it, and so that's why they needed the hummingbird flying suits. Seeing Mr. Sato like basically sacrifice his life, just give his life and to finish the mission and save Asami, like that was actually kind of heartbreaking, because like he throughout the whole season he's like trying to do better. He understands that what he did can never be forgiven, but he's trying to atone. He's trying to become better than he was, and it works. It works. They finally managed to open it up, and they finally manage to give an opening, and then a group goes in to finish the job, which leads to the final episode of the series, The Last Stand. And as far as Day of the Colossus, I'm giving that a 10 out of 10. I am absolutely giving it a 10 out of 10. It was a fantastic episode. So, final episode of the series, The Last Stand. When Korra comes face to face with Kuvira, the fate of the Earth Kingdom and the Avatar's life are at stake. And we are 2 hours into this. That's great. So, yeah, absolutely wonderful final battle. We get to see Sue and Lin do a lot of damage to the arm with the cannon. We get to see Mako and Bolin handle the core of the mech. And then we get to see Korra and Kuvira fighting off against each other in the head of the mech. And the whole thing just blows up in a really cool explosion. It was animated really well. I actually got worried that Mako was gonna die. I actually got really worried Mako was going to die, but yeah, Bolin was there, and he actually got the two of them out before it blew, which was fantastic. So Bolin, again, proven why he's like the better of the two brothers. Just as Kuvira starts to get away, Korra chases after her, and then the weapon goes out of control. The weapon goes out of control, and it's just using pure spirit energy. And Korra manages to stop it and causes a brand new spirit portal to arrive, which I love. I love that whole sequence with showing the spirit portal show up. That was so gorgeous. It was breathtaking. And Korra showing so much how much she's grown when she's talking to Kuvira. That final conversation between the two just really shows how much Korra has grown as a character, and how like she has really matured into a fantastic avatar. So I absolutely adore that. And then Kuvira like just surrenders, and they don't forgive her. They actually send her to prison, and I love that. I love how like there is a bunch of like various animes that would they would see the error of their ways, and then they would become good, and then everyone forgives them. No. We're not doing that. You caused a lot of pain, a lot of grief for a lot of people. You're going to prison. Now, like, there is an actual like redemption story for Kuvira in the comics, and I will be talking about that whenever we get around to my 2500th video. But that's for that. This in terms of the show, yeah, she goes to prison, and rightfully so. And then we get a nice little epilogue showing all the characters celebrating. Varric and Julie get married, and that's very nice. It's very sweet. We get to see like, you know, a final conversation between Korra and Mako, and then a final conversation between Korra and Tenzin, and then a final conversation between Korra and Asami. And the two of them decide to go take a vacation in the spirit world, and they hold hands and look each other longingly in the eyes as the camera pans up, and that's the end of the series. Basically confirming that Korra and Asami became a couple. And that was a twist that I did not think they would be able to go through with. I could tell they were building up a relationship between Korra and Asami, but I didn't think they would actually go through with, like, confirming the two of them as a couple at the end. I really didn't think they'd be able to do that. I thought that Nickelodeon would, like, stop them from doing that. But no, they were actually, those mad lads were actually able to pull it off and actually able to show Korra and Asami as a couple at the very end. And that's fantastic. We didn't get to see them kiss, but we did get, like, pretty solid confirmation in the show that they did become a couple. So for the series finale, an 11 out of 10. Absolutely 11 out of 10. Absolutely love it. And there we go. That is every episode of The Legend of Korra. Every episode of The Legend of Korra, honest descriptions. So I still love this series. I absolutely adore it. I absolutely adore Legend of Korra. It is my second favorite. It is my second favorite show of all time, second only to its predecessor, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, with that said, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching this 2 hour and 7 minute video. And I'm looking forward to doing my 2,500th video celebration next. So, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good jazz. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.